Well, today was a very interesting day in New York Jets land. They fire their GM, Joe Douglas, and now we're getting reports from SNY of Connor Hughes that the Jets may also be done with Aaron Rodgers and they prefer to move on following this season. Now, this is a very conflicting report because we saw just a week ago say that the Jets want Rodgers back. Rodgers wants to be back, and we're expecting Rodgers to return in 2025. And the one thing I've learned about this New York Jets team is we just got to let the process play itself out because we have no idea what's coming next. All right? And this is interesting. Connor Hughes of SNY, we all know him very well. This is the quote that he had, and I want to get your guys' thoughts in the comments section right now of if you want Aaron Rodgers to return or not. So this is a quote from the article on SNY. I'll leave Connor Hughes' article down below in the comments if you want to check it out. Quote, now you have a team. Sources describe the SNY as checked out. Players aren't angry or annoyed at their 3-8 record. They're, as one person described, it's ready for it to be over. Well, I literally have been screaming that to you guys that this is exactly what it looks like. When you watch the Jets game, it looks like a collection of players that don't care. They're checked out. They're just there to show up and ready for the season to be done. So that's obvious. You can tell it by watching the games. And then they go on and say, there are 7 weeks left in the season. It will give the Jets a jump start on another rebuild. They're looking for a new GM. They will be looking for a new coach. Sources told SNY that the team prefers to move on from Aaron Rodgers too. Those are the easy decisions, though. How to fill those voids poses a much greater challenge. So this is a lot to unpack here because there's two ways to look at this. So the news that we heard when we talked about Rodgers is coming back in 2025, that was from his mouth. He said that he wants to be back. But what if the Jets don't want him back? And I'm here to tell you guys, Woody Johnson fired Saleh. Woody Johnson fired Joe Douglas. What makes us think that Woody Johnson ain't going to fire Aaron Rodgers? By cutting him. Whether Rodgers wants to come back or not, he may not have a decision because the Jets can do a post-June 1st cut designation and cut Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying I'm for or against this. I'm just giving you guys the reality that this could happen because the reality is this, the Jets got to completely rebuild. And what coach and what GM is going to want to come to this team with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback? Right? They're going to want to draft their own QB. They're going to want to reset this team. I guarantee you there's not a GM or a coach that looks at the Jets as as very attractive with Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback. So this is very interesting news. And I think that it really poses a discussion. And if you're confused of the news last week of everybody saying Rodgers is coming back next year, again, that was Aaron saying he wants to be back. Now, from SNY's Connor Hughes, he's reporting that the Jets may be done, and they're ready to move on. And seeing Woody Johnson, again, fire Saleh the way that he did, now firing Douglas, what makes us think Woody's not going to fire Aaron Rodgers? Because he went all in with Aaron Rodgers, and he gave Saleh and Douglas the opportunity to go after the veteran quarterback, and it failed. And what is Rodgers going to bring next season besides maybe helping the development of a rookie quarterback we draft in the first round, right? I know a lot of Jets fans are now in tank mode, and we're looking at the draft, and Cam Moore, Shadur Sanders, and all these guys, right? So I think that it's going to be interesting because even if Aaron wants to return, the Jets could literally say, knowing Woody Johnson, that you're not coming back and we're going to cut you. So I want to get your guys' predictions in the comments right now. Do you think Rodgers is returning? Is he done for the Jets? Are they going to bench him? Are they going to go to Tyrod Taylor next week after the bye? I know some people are like, where's Jordan Travis? Let him play. I don't think Jordan Travis should play. I really don't think that'd be smart because the guy didn't even play once in OTAs or training camp or preseason. This needs to be a redshirt year for Jordan Travis. As much as a fan, I'd love to see him play football, but I think that would break his confidence more than anything. Adrian Martinez, I don't know, but it feels like the era of Aaron Rodgers with the Jets is over, in my opinion, because I don't see a path where Aaron Rodgers can, bring in a new coaching staff that he's comfortable with. Because let's not forget, a big reason why Aaron wanted to come to the Jets is why? Nathaniel Hackett was here. And what does that mean? Number one, he's his best friend. And number two, it's Aaron Rodgers' system that he's been in his whole life. He won 2 MVPs with Hackett's system. So Rodgers loved the idea of being in a familiar environment of understanding it's my system. I get to call the shots, right? And it's failed, completely failed. But I do not see a world where Rodgers is the quarterback and the Jets go after and hire an offensive mind that's a completely different system. And I just feel like that would be a disaster. So very interesting stuff. And I think that, Connor Hughes is plugged in. He knows what he's talking about. He's a reliable source. And the fact that he's reporting that the Jets prefer to move on from the quarterback is interesting stuff. And again, is it shocking after seeing what Woody Johnson did? He's fed up right now. He is done with this entire regime, and he's ready to start fresh. And we all wish that Woody Johnson would start fresh by selling the team, but that's not happening. So he's going to go out there with a brand new search, new GM, new head coach, new quarterback, and that's the reality of it. So Jets fans, let me know right now in the comments, do you think this is a report that we should actually look into and feel like, yeah, the Jets may be done with Aaron Rodgers and they're going to move on? Or do you think we're going to see Woody Johnson go all in with Aaron Rodgers again next year because he knows that Rodgers brings a lot of eyes to the Jets? Even when you stink and you have Aaron Rodgers on your team, you're still bringing in revenue. People are still talking about you. And you know that Woody Johnson loves that because as the owner, that brings more money. That brings more eyes. That brings more eyeballs. And I'm sick of the Johnsons because they operate this team, the New York Jets, as a business more than a football team. I know that the Jets are a business. They're part of the NFL. But Woody Johnson is a business mind. He needs to put his ego aside, hire a football mind to be the head of football operations, let that man hire the head coach and the GM, and then go after there and get a new quarterback and start fresh and retool this team because now we're going through a completely rebuild all over again. Here we go, Jets fans. We're here yet again. And the Saleh era is a failure. The Douglas era is a failure. They went all in with Aaron Rodgers because they drafted Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson failed, so they thought that this team was so good. We all did. I did, right? But I'm just saying it from their perspective. They thought that this team was good enough that they were a quarterback away, but obviously that was not the case. I thought that. I was dead wrong. A lot of Jets fans thought that. We were all wrong. And now we're witnessing our GM that we all were super excited about when we hired. And we felt like he was the guy bringing all this talent and building the future. He's gone to Joe Douglas. And listen, I'm not shocked by today's news of the Jets firing Joe Douglas at all. I thought that was just going to happen in the offseason or it was a ticking time bomb. You saw the trade deadline press conference. The guy was talking like he's not going to be here in the future. He has no connections with this. And I'm just going to be honest, man, like Woody Johnson did not give Joe Douglas, in my opinion, a fair, I don't know how to put this, but it just feels like the Johnsons is the common denominator of the issues with this team, and it's frustrating. I was hopeful that Joe Douglas was going to be the guy, but he's no longer the guy. And now let's get excited for a new regime coming in. Let's hope that the Johnsons can find the right guy. So let me know your thoughts, Jets fans. Will Aaron Rodgers be back in 2025? My prediction is they move on. And in a world where they move on, this is what I think they could do. They move on, they keep Tyrod Taylor, they draft a quarterback, and they have Tyrod Taylor as the bridge, and then you have the rookie behind Tyrod Taylor compete with Jordan Travis, and then we're in a kind of like a rebuild mode, bridge quarterback, not high expectations, and we see what happens. That's what I think could happen, but a lot is yet to be seen, and we still got 7 games of the season to get through, by the way. It's not the offseason yet, even though we're talking like it's the offseason. Happy bye week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go Jets as always. Boy, oh boy. Let's go Jets, I guess.